Hello everyone, a very good day to all. I welcome you all to Energy Conversion 2 class. We are doing with chapter 3, that is synchronous motor, and today's topic for discussion is synchronous motor on load with constant excitation. So, motor on load with constant excitation. Let us understand this. When a synchronous motor is running on a supply of V volts, a back EMF EB is set up in the armature, which always opposes the applied voltage. This is we know due to the Lenz's law. This is V voltage, which is the input, EB is the effect, and if this is the effect and this voltage is the cause, according to Lenz's law, this effect or EB will always try to oppose the very cause by which it is produced. So, EB will always try to oppose supply voltage V, and this back EMF depends upon the rotor excitation only. The net voltage in the armature is the vector difference of V and EB. The armature current is obtained by dividing this vector difference V and EB difference of voltage by the armature impedance. So, the motor armature current equals the voltage difference divided by the armature impedance. So, here we can see the phasor diagrams. This is EB, this is V, and for three different cases we will see the positions. Now, first figure A, here we can see this is one complete cycle, this is the supply voltage V, and this is EB. Both are passing through the origin and both are opposite to each other. As we know, this EB will always try to oppose this V. And now we can see when the motor is on load, we can see here this is the origin, this is the V, the supply voltage we can say, this is the armature current IA generated. So, this is the phase angle phi. Phase angle is the angle between the supply voltage and the armature current of the motor. And here we can see this is the back EMF, and here we can see this is the load angle alpha we have taken here. And listen, the resultant of V and EB will be always our ER, that is resultant EMF of the synchronous motor, and the angle between ER and IA will be theta always. Here we can see for this is the origin, this is the supply voltage, this is the generated current, and here we can see the EB has shifted. Okay, this is the previous EB, previous phi. Now, according to the shifting of this EB, due to change in the load, we can see there is a more gap in between voltage and current. Phase angle has been increased, and also here we can see the ER, the resultant EMF, has also been increased. This is IA into ZS. This is the angle between ER, resultant EMF, and armature current, that is theta. So, yes, one more thing, this EB can also drawn here, its reflection can also be drawn here. So, this case 1 shows the condition when the motor properly synchronized to the supply. So, this is running on no load and no losses, and also is having field excitation which makes EB equal to V. So, there were two sine waves crushing through the origin, and it is seen that vector difference of EB and V is 0, and so is the armature current. There was no vector difference. The motor intake is 0, as there is neither load nor losses to be met by it. In other words, the motor just floats. But as we have discussed in case 2, if the motor is on no load but it has some losses, okay, so then the vector of EB falls back. Vectors are rotating anti-clockwise by a certain small angle A, or we can say alpha, which is shown in figure 2. So that a resultant voltage and current are brought into existence. That is, ER will now take place, and also the armature current. Case 3. Now the motor is loaded, we have already discussed that. Then its rotor will further fall back in phase by a greater value of angle alpha, called the load angle or coupling angle also we can say. The resultant voltage ER is increased and motor draws an increased armature current, so at a slightly decreased power factor we can say. Now we will discuss about the effect of changing the excitation on constant load. Previously we have discussed there was same excitation but loading condition was different. Here we will change the excitation but the loading condition will all remaining same. Here we can see this is the supply voltage V, this is the back EMF EB, and here is the first load angle, that is alpha 1, and here we can see the ER. ER and IA are making exactly theta equal to 90-degree angle between them. Now case 2. Now the excitation is changed. You can see V, okay, supply voltage, and this is EB1, this is EB2. For different values of EB, the load angle will also vary, we can see, and accordingly IA1 and IA2 will vary, and also the angle between them will be varying, that is phi 1 and phi 2. Here will be two resultant EMFs because we are comparing here. This is ER1 by taking EB1 and V1. This is ER2 by taking EB2 and V. Okay, so two resultant EMFs will be there. And now case number 3. Again the excitation is changed. So this is the same supply voltage. These are EB1 and EB2. Here you can see the difference in load angle also. These are IA1 and IA2, and accordingly by drawing the phasor, the resultants, we can get ER1 and ER2 respectively. Here we will discuss case 1. As shown in the figure, suppose a synchronous motor is operating with normal excitation, that is unity power factor. So there is RA negligible as compared to XS. Then IA lags ER by 90 degree and is in phase with supply voltage V because the power factor is unity. The armature is drawing a power of V into IA per phase, which is enough to meet the mechanical load of the motor. Now let us discuss the effect of decreasing or increasing the field excitation when the load applied to the motor remain constant, as we have seen in the diagram. Suppose due to decrease in excitation, the back EMF is reduced to EB1 at the same load angle alpha 1. The resultant voltage ER1 causes a lagging armature current IA1 to flow. Even though IA1 is larger than IA in magnitude, it is incapable of producing necessary power V into IA for carrying the constant load because IA1 cos phi 1 component is less than IA. So, this less is due to the change in the position of the phase angle. So, that V into IA1 cos phi 1 is less than V into IA. Hence, it becomes necessary for load angle to increase from alpha 1 to alpha 2. It increases the back EMF from EB1 to EB2, and as a result, also the resultant voltage is increased from ER1 to ER2, which we have discussed in the diagram itself. So, consequently, armature current increases to IA2, which in phase component produces enough power VIA2 cos phi 2 to meet the constant load on the motor. So now this is case 3, that is case 3. Now excitation is increased. The effect of increasing field excitation is shown in figure C, where increased EB1 is shown at the original load angle alpha 1. The resultant voltage ER1 causes a leading current IA1, which in phase component is larger than IA. Hence, the armature here develops more power than the load on the motor. Accordingly, load angle decreases from alpha 1 to alpha 2, which decreases the resultant voltage from ER1 to ER2. So, consequently, armature current decreases from IA1 to IA2, whose in-phase component IA2 cos phi 2 equal to IA, and here in that case armature develops power which is sufficient to carry the constant load on the motor. Hence, we find that variations in the excitation of a synchronous motor running with a given load produce variations in its load angle only. In some cases, we have to increase the load angle. In some cases, we need to decrease the load angle. Thank you.